everyone, welcome to PixelTunes Radio, episode 4. I'm Ed.
And I'm Mike.
Today we are going to play some songs that sound like popular music.
But we're also going to be playing songs that may have, I guess you could say, ripped off music a little bit as well for pop music.
Yeah, it kind of went back and forth. Sometimes Japanese composers, or even American composers, would take popular songs as influence for their video game music, and once in a great while you might even see a popular song that was influenced by video game music.
So you're going to hear some similarities. Unfortunately, we won't be able to play the actual clips due to copyright reasons, but due to Creative Commons, we will be able to share the information about the songs. We'll be telling you all about the songs here in this show. It's also going to give us a little bit more time to kind of share a couple more examples than we normally would.
Right, and we're also going to have links to the songs that we're talking about on YouTube and on our blog at PixelTunesRadio.com.
So if you're listening to this on iTunes, go research it on our webpage. And it would be the perfect time to subscribe to Facebook and Twitter. We have a Facebook page and a Twitter page. You can check us out on Twitter.com, and our handle is PixelTunes Radio, and you can check us out on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/PixelTunes Radio.
Or on YouTube, you can check out our streaming podcast at youtube.com/dongled.
So, without further ado, which, you know what, I always say without further ado, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
Good. I'm absolutely okay with that as well. We have our catchphrases.
The first song that we're going to be playing is a song from Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Now, I'm a huge fan of this game, and so it's kind of interesting because I had always heard this music, you know, growing up and getting older, and my musical taste, of course, changed, and I started to get into heavy metal. It was interesting because I heard this song from a different source, and I was like, wait a minute, I've heard this before. So I booted up Castlevania 2, and nevertheless, there we go.
I had actually never played Castlevania 1 before I played Castlevania 2. So,
same here.
Kinuyo Yamashita's music was not my introduction to the Castlevania themes. Kenichi Matsuraba, who wrote the music for Castlevania 2, I considered his music like the defining Castlevania themes because I had never heard them before. I do enjoy the Castlevania 2 soundtrack, I think a little bit more than the Castlevania 1, just maybe because it's more of a nostalgia thing for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, Castlevania 2, I think, has a more iconic... I can't say iconic, because the first is always going to be the most iconic. But I would say there's certain tracks in 2, like, for example, Bloody Tears, that just... everybody knows. If you're a Castlevania fan, you know that song. That's the bread and butter right there.
Exactly. So. That and Vampire Killer tend to be the two that everybody knows.
Yep.
And they started off on Castlevania 2. But the song we're going to be playing today is called Dwelling of Doom, and it shares a little bit of a similarity with a Yngwie Malmsteen song that Mike can talk about.
Dwelling of Doom is a great track, but what's really funny about it is if you listen to an artist named Yngwie Malmsteen, you're going to be able to draw a lot of similarities between Yngwie Malmsteen's neoclassical metal, which is the type of music that he plays, and the Castlevania songs. Really just in general. Castlevania uses the Baroque era of classical music. That is just what it sounds like. That's what it's inspired by. And so to go back and listen to neoclassical metal, you can draw a lot of similarities. Yngwie Malmsteen is also really big in Japan. Like, he's huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, one thing to point out, this particular track that we're going to be referencing, the song is called Far Beyond the Sun. It's available on the Rising Force album. Yngwie Malmsteen, when he started, his group was actually called Rising Force. So the album is called, if you want to get technical, it's Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force, Rising Force. So, a little bit of duplication there, repetitive niche. So, the song, Malmsteen has quoted, "I'll probably play Far Beyond the Sun and Black Star until the day I die." And what's really funny about that is, if you think about it, that means he'll be playing Castlevania's Dwelling of Doom until the day he dies.
Sweet.
The track for this came out in 1984, which was a couple years before Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest came out. That was in 1987. So technically, our boy Matsuraba.
He had plenty of time to plagiarize.
Right. And since...
Or be inspired by. Let's put a positive spin on it.
And since Yngwie Malmsteen was so big in Japan, there's a very good chance that he could have heard the song and been like, yoink! But
right,
who actually knows?
There's too much similarity for it to be a coincidence.
Sure. And, I mean, it is the main hook of the song. So it's not like it's the whole song, because it does eventually change on Far Beyond the Sun. It's just one specific part that we're going to be talking about. So I guess we'll go ahead and introduce that track. So, yeah.
Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Dwelling of Doom. Enjoy. That was a track from Spider-Man Maximum Carnage called Heroic Assault. It sounds a little bit like, I don't know.
Oh, just a little bit?
Just a little bit
just
like...
a little bit like Black
Rules.
Sabbath,
Yeah.
The Mob Rules. It's literally the entire song, except for probably a little bit of the chorus.
Now, there was another similar sounding game from Tim Fallon called Rock and Roll Racing, which used the entirety of classic rock tracks. But those classic rock tracks were licensed and utilized because those were the songs that they wanted to play during the game. So, but this track is identical to a Black Sabbath song, and I don't think it was credited at a...
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. What's interesting is the people who did the soundtrack, there's a song that was licensed, by the band Green Jelly.
Right.
Which is, they're actually called Green Jello, but they had to change their name due to licensing reasons.
It's still actually called Green Jello.
Yeah.
They put the umlaut over the Y
right.
after they changed their name, but they tell you you're still supposed to pronounce it as Green Jello.
Still supposed to call them Green Jello. Okay. They licensed the track and actually recorded the track. You could find it. It's all over online, all over the place. It's really funny to be able to listen to the Green Jello, or Jelly, or whatever you want to call it, song that is literally the intro music to Maximum Carnage, and to be like, I've heard this song before, and then to listen to the boss song, the Heroic Assault song, and be like, wait a minute, this is Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
So that always cracks me up.
Yeah. The composer of the song was Alistair Brimble, who didn't do too much for console games, but was responsible for composing over 100 Amiga games.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
he
a
had
lot.
quite a prolific career in video games. So, he's very well known, mostly in the Amiga community, so they got him to do this soundtrack, and the whole soundtrack's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, Maximum Carnage, I think, kind of sounds very similar to a lot of the other LJN video games for Spider-Man, like Spider-Man X-Men, which
yes.
we talked about in episode 1.
Yeah, a lot of LJN's Marvel games, they really tried to go with a rock theme.
Yeah.
So they really used composers that were strong in that area.
Yeah, and, very 70s, 80s inspired.
So Brimble, Tim Fallon, they're all very good with turning electronics into rock scores. So worked pretty well.
The next song we're going to be talking about is from Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, it is not the first Sonic the Hedgehog game for the Genesis, but it is the first Sonic the Hedgehog game for the Master System and the Game Gear. And this is the Bridge Zone song.
So the Master System game shared a lot of music with the Genesis game. Actually, the Genesis game did come first, but they downported it to the Master System because the game was so popular. So Masato Nakamura wrote the music for the Genesis version, and then they took a little-known composer by the name of Yuzo Koshiro, and he ported a lot of Nakamura's music to the Master System, and then created some new songs for the new worlds that they had created for the Master System version. So this Bridge Zone song is composed exclusively by Yuzo Koshiro for the Master System.
Right, and the track that we're comparing it to is a track by Janet Jackson. Now, don't believe that she's actually written that song, just because I know that most songwriters, especially I think Michael Jackson, because I know we're talking about the Jackson family, Michael Jackson did write a lot of his own music, but he did have people that came in and composed the actual music itself.
Right, he did work closely with one specific composer who wrote most of his music, or co-wrote most of the music with him.
Right. And so with the Janet Jackson track that we are referencing, it's a song called Together Again. And essentially the main hook of the song and the vocal melodies are pretty much Sonic the Hedgehog, Master System, Game Gear, Bridge Zone.
Yeah, this is a reverse of the songs that were coming before this in the podcast. So the Janet Jackson song actually came about 6 years after the Master System.
Way after.
So this was a definite borrowing from the video game to create a pop song. Now the Jacksons did have a large history with Sega. Michael Jackson did Moonwalker with them.
Yep.
There were rumors, still kind of unsubstantiated.
Pretty much confirmed to me at this point.
That he worked on Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
The biggest evidence of that is the writer of some of his music coming out and, basically saying, hey, by the way, I wrote the music. Right. I mean, there's still a lot of oh, did he, didn't he? But there was recent evidence that came out that this guy who wrote all the music for Michael Jackson, or co-wrote the music with him, was in a band called the Jetsons. It was an 80s band that very, very 80s sounding, and they came out with a song called Hard Times. This was a B-side that was on one of their albums. I guess it was really just very few people knew about this song, and so the video game music community found out about this song, and I mean, it's undeniably Ice Cap Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, so it's pretty clear that...
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So yeah, I think we've kind of Jacksoned out our listeners. I think we should just roll with this song.
Yes, Jackson's Sega long sordid history between the two entities. Pretty neat.
Freaking Jacksons, man, stealing the songs.
So here we go with Yuzo Koshiro's Bridge Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog Master System version.
Fighter Tournament. A yearly no-holds-barred series of matches. One warrior emerges victorious, and the other leaves on a stretcher. Fighters from all over the world came to test their mettle in violent combat. Unfortunately, the economy is in the toilet, and we can't afford to fly everyone around the globe anymore. That's why we've created the next generation of Street Fighter remotely over the internet. Behold, Skype Fighter 2. Watch in awe as fighters take to their laptops and video conference to the death over Wi-Fi.
You will never escape my emoticons, comrade. In Mother Russia, internet drops you.
Oh, my friend, thank you for calling. My name is Dulcine. Please stay on the line while I diagnose your network connection. I'm currently connecting my fist to your face. Yoga Firewall! Watch as fearsome warriors battle it out, using only their fingers and their wits as their weapons.
Oh, I can fight without risking my beautiful face? This is simply delicious.
Okay, who's the next fighter to take on Ken Masters? Oh, hey girl, why don't we, forget about this fight and hug it out? You know what I mean? What's your name?
Ken, it's me, Vega, the Red Rose of Spain.
Oh my god. I didn't recognize you without your mask. Oh god.
Skype Fighter 2, Friday nights, only on VG1.
Oh god. Oh god.
And we're back. That was a special 3-pack of songs. Starting off with the Sonic the Hedgehog bridge theme, we went into the Victorious theme from Outrun 2019 on the Genesis, and then Ken's theme from Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. Michael, why do Outrun and Street Fighter have anything in common?
Well, the two songs sound very similar to a song that was performed by Cheap Trick. Now, please note, I said performed, not written. The track was actually composed. The song is called Mighty Wings, and it was on the Top Gun soundtrack. And it was composed and produced by Harold Faltermeyer and Mark Spiro.
That was a pretty good soundtrack. There's a lot of good stuff that came out of the Top Gun movie.
Absolutely.
And also the Top Gun NES game did include music from the movie too, which was very well composed.
It's kind of like a song within a song.
Yeah.
Within a song.
Yeah. So the Outrun 2019, I think, is maybe a little bit more accurate to the riff that's in the Cheap Trick song, but the Ken's theme song is a little heavier, so it sounds a little bit more like a rock song.
Yeah.
So they kind of take different things away from that same main riff melody and run with it in different directions, which I think is pretty cool.
The next song we're going to be talking about is the Ninja Turtles intro title theme.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 for the NES. Man, I love this game so hard. And it's so hard.
You love it.
I love it hard, and it is hard.
Right. I think I have more nostalgic feelings to it because it was the first Ninja Turtles game I ever played.
Same here.
But the game sucks. I mean...
No! It's a brilliant game. Everybody screams and shouts about that seaweed area at the end of the...
I agree with you on that. I can blow that through no problem.
Me too.
I got tortured enough as a kid that I was able to get through the sewer and not have to worry about getting that badly hurt.
Yep.
I wouldn't I can get pretty far in that game. I can probably get up to like maybe the 4th level before I start losing turtles.
I can get to the Technodrome pretty easily.
Wow.
The Technodrome's really
That's
hard.
impressive. Though. Yeah. No,
you really have to, you've got to master the turtles. I mean, obviously it sounds pretty cliche, but a lot of people don't use Donatello because he's super slow and his
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get his timing down and know how to attack with him, you can get through levels pretty easily.
Anytime I think about that game, the only thing I can think of is I can mentally hear Donatello's bow sound effect because that's all. Yeah. Woof, woof. But the song sounds like Queen's Stone Cold Crazy.
Right. So there are a couple tracks from the Ninja Turtles game that sound like other songs or were inspired from other songs. This is the introductory track that plays when you first turn the game on. It's very fast, very kind of a punk rock song. Sounds just like Stone Cold Crazy by Queen. And there's another track in the game which is further on right before you get to the Technodrome, I think, which sounds like the Beatles Come Together.
Yes, that's the airplane level.
Right.
Yeah, we're in the airport.
So, the composer for this game, Some people say it's Kaizo Nakamura. Some people say it's Jun Funahashi. I don't think it's been credited officially anywhere.
It's so hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could actually say for sure which one is the actual composer. There are a couple of tracks in this song which sound very similar to Castlevania songs, but that doesn't really clue us in because both composers have worked on Castlevania. So, not much we can do about that. But the Ninja Turtle soundtrack is really awesome. The introductory song is really cool too. It's a very good start to the game. Really gets you in the mood for an action-packed adventure.
Definitely. Get you pumped up.
Yep. So here we go. Ninja Turtles 1 for the NES. The introductory theme sounding like Stone Cold Crazy, you know.
We have returned!
Hooray! That was Earthbound. That was the Runaway Five's final performance from the game Earthbound. It's just a completely amazing RPG, one of my favorite games of all time. So it sounds like a song by The Doors called Changeling, which isn't even really kind of a typical Doors song. It has a very... I don't even know the genre of music that is. It sounds very... It sounds like the Blues Brothers. I guess so. It's more like a blues song.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Definitely a departure from what we normally cover.
Yeah, Earthbound is chock full of pop culture references. The music in the game uses samples from classic rock and pop and the Beatles. There are a couple of songs that do borrow heavily from the Beatles and
The Who,
and
right?
The Who.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's samples all over the place. So Shigesato Itoi, who created the game, is a big fan of, obviously, pop culture, so he added a lot of that stuff in. Even on the sequel to the game, Mother 3, for the Game Boy Advance, which was never released in the US, contains a whole bunch of references to different songs as well. The music in the game is performed by this band called the Runaway Five, which is kind of a takeoff on the Blues Brothers. They're a band that your party kind of meets up with, and they have a tour bus, and they kind of get you from one town to the other, and you use them to kind of advance the plot. So they do have segments within the game where they put on a show, and they play these songs, and you see the sprites running around and playing their instruments, and there's light shows, and it's just a really cool experience within the RPG. So that was The Doors.
So it's kind of like Killer Tofu, you know, the beats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very similar to that.
Yeah, banging on a trash can.
Right. So we're moving on to some Mega Man tracks.
Yeah, Mega Man. So the first Mega Man, I'm not a big fan of. I don't know. But it's got some good songs.
My first game was Mega Man 2.
Yeah.
Just like Castlevania, I came in on the sequel, so...
Yeah, I came in on 3 with Mega Man.
Yeah, Mega Man, the original game, was a little... It was rusty.
Yeah, well, I would say it's the foundation for what is a fantastic house of awesome.
Mega Man 1 had a score.
Yeah.
Like, you get high scores.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was completely useless.
Never did understand that, but yeah, that's Mega Man. So, Mega Man, we're going to talk about Elec Man's theme. Elec Man's theme is very well known to be a take on or a ripoff of Journey's Faithfully.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Journey at all, so I don't know much, but you did play me the 2 tracks, and they are identical.
Yeah, pretty much. There's another song which I wish I could remember it, but maybe our viewers can help us out. If you know of the track that also sounds like Elec Man's theme, it's a pop song or pop culture song in normal, regular pop music or rock music. Let us know. Shout out to us on Twitter or Facebook. Let us know what the song is, because I'm blanking on this one, and maybe you guys could tell us. So this song, it's got a really light, uplifting, kind of high energy beat, but when you listen to the Journey's Faithfully, it's such a it's like a chill, song that you would hear at the end of your prom, you know what I mean?
Right. It's an end of the night kind of song.
Right, definitely. Which, that's kind of a staple of Journey's music.
Rock ballads.
Yeah.
Power ballads.
Definitely power ballads, rock ballads. And then we're going to be moving we're going to kind of give you guys a 1-2 Mega Man punch. This next track after that is going to be Mega Man X3.
What does Mega Man Punch taste like?
It's tropical. It's tropical.
I was thinking motor oil and I don't know.
You know what? It's blue raspberry and motor oil.
That sounds delicious.
Oh man, we gotta make that happen.
Lubricate your system.
Mm-mm. So Neon Tiger is the track that we're going to be talking about. This one actually has a lot of coincidences.
Coincidental?
Yeah. The song is pretty much a direct ripoff of Guns N' Roses' My Michelle. What's interesting about that is a later game in the Mega Man X universe, Mega Man X5, actually has bosses that are named after the members of Guns N' Roses. The woman who suggested it was the voice actress from Resident Evil 2 who played Claire.
That is pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Very neat.
So very weird. Very strange transition that I just brought you, but yeah, that's how the Mega Man universe is, Mega Man X universe specifically, is somewhat related to Guns N' Roses.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty wacky. But yeah, this song is pretty much Guns N' Roses' My Michelle. Takes the main chorus and runs with it.
Yeah, it seems to use a lot of the same guitar samples that the Street Fighter songs use.
Yeah.
But I guess that's Capcom's sound font, so you're going to hear a lot of
lots of
similarities.
overdrive guitars and cool stuff.
Awesome. So, enjoy Elec Man from Mega Man 1 and Neon Tiger from Mega Man X3, which was composed by Kinuya Yamashita.
Ah, yes, our
We're getting a lot of repeat composers in this podcast.
I don't think there was a single podcast that we've had that didn't have Kinuya Yamashita in it.
Or Yuzo Koshiro.
Yeah.
We need to get away from these people.
Well, yeah, okay.
Or keep on playing them, because their music rocks.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the only reason why they keep repeating.
Yeah.
Because they pop up all over the place.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so here we go.
Jesus! Buddha! Somebody help me! I can't get away from these random birds that come out of nowhere to attack me!
You look like you need assistance from world-renowned professional ninja and plant shop owner Ryo Hayabusa.
Who?
Really? You don't know who I am?
Not in the slightest bit.
The dude from Ninja Gaiden.
Oh my god, you're like world famous!
That's right! And boy, do I have a product for you. Are you tired of those pesky giant birds coming at you from all four corners of the world, actively trying to murder you?
Don't I know it?
Well, then you need Bird Begone!
That might be the worst name for a product ever.
Don't make me ninja slice you. Bird Begone is a can of effervescent spray with anti-pheromones that make all birds forget you exist. Forever! Just spray an entire can on your forehead, and the smell will waft into the air, calling off all planned bird attacks depending on your location.
Well, that sounds great and all, but what if it's raining?
That's perfect! The foam seeps into your pores after the planned waiting period of 3 hours. A perfect time to take a nap, read a book, go fly fishing, or take a taekwondo lesson.
This seems overly unnecessary.
Hey, a ninja's gotta eat, right? Try out Bird Begone for a week, and if you don't like it, no refunds!
Bird Begone, now available at all Paul Greens, CSV, or Tide Aid stores. Just look in the shaving cream aisle. Welcome back.
That beautiful piece of music was from Ninja Gaiden Arcade. That was a song called I Am Man, which sounds a little bit like...
Is that the actual name of the song?
I Am Man.
Did they really call it that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Right, so the Ninja Gaiden Arcade game, it's obviously a little rough sounding. It was...
The whole game is rough.
Yeah, it came out before the NES version of Ninja Gaiden.
Which really just became the staple of the franchise.
Right, it used the Yamaha chip synths, so it sounds a lot like a Genesis game, but because it was such an early game, it used a YM synth that predated the Genesis, so it sounds even a little bit rougher than the Genesis music does.
Yeah.
But it's obviously a direct rip of Iron Man from Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And it's not even like they were trying to hide it. The Ninja Gaiden arcade game plagiarized on 2 levels. You fight these guys. The sprites are a direct ripoff of the Road Warriors from WWE wrestling.
Oh, wow.
They look exactly like them. They've got the bald heads with the eye makeup and the spikes on their shoulders. So you come across them at the end of Stage 2 and at the end of Stage 5, and then they're also mid-boss in Stage 6, right before you get to the last guy. So this I Am Man theme plays 3 times during your journey through this relatively short arcade game. And you're kind of sick of the song by the time it's done.
Be sick of the game by the time it's done.
It's a cool arrangement of the song, though. They add a few little flourishes here and there. The rest of the soundtrack isn't that great, but I guess because I'm familiar with the song, I kind of actually like this version of it. Ninja Gaiden Arcade is pretty cool. You can play it in MAME. It's emulatable, so you can definitely check it out.
I gotta respectfully disagree about Ninja Gaiden Arcade. I think it's the worst entry in the series.
It's neat in the sense that it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Literally, Ryu Hayabusa starts the game. He comes to America.
Yeah.
He fights through several American locations. There are little graphics that display between the levels, and the graphics are about as racist as you can possibly get. like there's Ryu Hayabusa sitting on a train reading a newspaper, and there's an Indian on a horse riding outside, like waving at him.
And then he goes American?
Well, yes, but back in the day.
You 80s racist.
And then he goes to Las Vegas. And there's a graphic of him playing blackjack, in full ninja garb with the hood over his head.
That's silly.
And standing to the side is like an African American figure, but it's from Civil War era where the facial expression is very exaggerated with the big nose and the big ears. It's my goodness,
boy.
This is horrible. How did this ever get printed in America? So, anyways, thank goodness that Ninja Gaiden nowadays is not how it started off, because it could have gone way in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, the NES games and the Master System games, and even the later Xbox games, really kind of had a very specific look and feel to them, and really that's the best that it's going to get as far as Ninja Gaiden goes. But I am excited about this new, I don't know if you've learned or talked or found out about the new Ninja Gaiden game, the Yaiba, that's coming out?
No, I haven't heard about it.
It's actually being co-produced or co-developed by Keiji Inafune.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so the creator of, or co-creator of Mega Man. And it looks interesting, I gotta say. They are incorporating, and this is getting back to Ninja Gaiden, the arcade game, apparently they're incorporating some retro levels that are designed to play like that original Ninja Gaiden arcade game.
I hope the Road Warriors are in it. Because they're hard. It's a really difficult game.
That's pretty usual for Ninja Gaiden, though.
I was checking it out last night, just playing through it to get a feel for it. I couldn't get past like halfway through the first level without. And there are segments where you will get trapped by an enemy, and he will literally kick and punch you until you die, regardless of how much energy you have, and you just can't get away from him. Yeah. So
sounds about like
a quarter eater. Back in the day, they were just designed to take your money. So we're going to be moving on to Super Mario Brothers 3.
This is the airship level.
Yeah, Koji Kondo, the airship level. Yeah. It's
so even Koji Kondo is a ripper offer.
I think this was more of an homage to Gustav Holst's Mars Bringer of War. Holst did a series of pieces based on the planets in the solar system. So Mars had a very kind of foreboding theme, I guess. I mean, he is named after the Bringer of War. So so the same kind of tympanic drums that you hear in the beginning of the airship theme, and that kind of slow violin sounds almost like a shark is coming out of the water to eat you kind of deal, So Super Mario Brothers 3 Airship and Mars Bringer of War share a lot in common. They kind of diverge after the first 30 seconds or so of that intro, but it does build upon that cool theme that Mars really brings forth. So
I gotta say about the drums on this, I mean, they're clearly either timpani or kettle drums. What's really interesting though is it's one of the few times in early video games, especially the Nintendo era, where you can very clearly tell that the drums are what they are supposed to be.
Yeah.
In most cases on Nintendo music, the drums are pretty much snare drums, just to keep the beat going. But you have the bass, you have the snare, you have the hi-hat, whatever. But I would say the only other game that does that is Mega Man. So it's kind of cool to hear the Koji Kondo's drum, fill versus Mega Man, where they have very solid use of tom drums all throughout the
especially
games.
Like in Mega Man 2 with with the between levels where you're getting the new weapon. Yeah, it's literally only tom drums.
That's true.
Koji Kondo did use percussion to build the themes on a lot of his games. Especially Super Mario World, which was the game that came directly after Mario 3. Wherever you jumped on Yoshi, immediately you'd have the same music, but you'd have the bongo drums, signifying that you're riding on a dinosaur's back. So this kind of, I think, filled in where that left off.
I know whenever I ride on a dinosaur's back, there's
bongos
always
everywhere.
Yeah,
man.
bongos.
It's you running down the street on a Yoshi.
They're like deafening.
There's like hippies all the way down the
of
boulevard,
course.
banging on bongo drums.
Yeah, banging on
Go,
the trash can.
Mike! Eat those cherries off of those bushes. I have no idea what I'm talking
Poop
about.
out an egg that has a mushroom in it. I don't know.
It sounds kind of weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this is Super Mario Brothers 3, the airship level from Koji Kondo, sounding like Gustav Holst's Mars Bringer of War. So why would we play a very repetitive UN Squadron song on our podcast, Mike?
Because we hate our viewers and want them to have to be tortured by the song that we're referencing?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds a lot like this.
Chocolate rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Chocolate rain. A baby born will die before the sin. Chocolate rain.
And that was Chocolate Rain by Tazon Day. You didn't know that, did you?
That's right. You just got punked. We punked our own listeners.
Actually, that's the only song on this podcast that we can actually legally play the song that it sounds like, because it's not owned by those malicious record companies that would take our podcast down if we played something by Cheap
Those
Trick.
jerky jerks.
Yeah, so now you guys know where Chocolate Rain came from. It's not the original
Came
masterpiece
from
that everybody...
UN Squadron, yeah. So what do we know about the composer for UN Squadron?
Mary Yamaguchi. She composed the UN Squadron soundtrack. UN Squadron is also called Area 88
Area
in
88,
Japan.
yes.
Based on
a manga and an anime.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Yamaguchi also did Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, Mega Man 5, the original Breath of Fire soundtrack, Final Fight 2. She worked on Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. I mean, the list goes on. She's pretty cool.
A lot of Capcom games.
Yeah, she retired from Capcom in '93, but then she came back as a guest composer in 2010 to do a track for Mega Man 10 when they did those NES-style remakes.
Right. Yeah. You know, it totally makes sense, though, because my least favorite Mega Man game music is from 5 and 10.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so now I know. Now I know who I have to blame.
And she's also responsible for Chocolate Rain.
but I really like the soundtrack for UN Squadron, so it's...
Maybe it's that whole nostalgia thing again.
Yeah,
You know,
could be.
you really like the game, you play it a lot, you get used to the melodies, and they kind of
Yeah.
ingrain themselves in your head. And,
Yeah. I don't know. I blame science
uh,
and dinosaurs
yeah, I blame video games.
and ninjas.
My mom always told me it would rot my brain, and
Here we are.
here we are, rotting your brain instead.
And your eardrums.
That's all we got for our show today.
Yeah, no, episode 4.
I think it was a pretty enlightening show.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how you think these songs are original songs. They just lie to you. They're
And you know what? There's a lot of examples that we could give. These are probably, I would say, some of the more popular ones, but there's a ton. And you know what? If you have any, let's hear about them. We'd love to hear what you guys think about the show in general, or if you want to suggest a couple songs for us to use maybe in the future. I'm sure we'll go back to it and say, you know what? Hey, remember Billy Bob 519? He told us about a song that we should include in the podcast in another, like, maybe second version of this theme. Yeah.
And also, if you have a good idea for a theme, obviously every episode, usually with guests, we have them pick their own tracks, but sometimes if we have a guest that has a particular genre of game that they like, we'll do a theme with a guest. But if you have an idea for a cool theme, let us know. Maybe we'll use it in one of our shows.
That's going to be it for this week. Episode 5 will be in the can in about 2 weeks. You'll be hearing from us again. So, yeah, keep on top of us on Twitter and Facebook. Again, facebook.com/PixelTunes Radio. And Twitter handle is PixelTunes Radio. And you are listening to
PixelTunes Radio!
That's right. Thank you very much for listening, and stay tuned.
Peace out, Pixel Tuners.